welcome to the stage Sarah Jeong.
This is my second time speaking at this conference. That was 8 years ago. Unlike some of the other talks that I've given over the years, my talk at XOXO 2016 was relatively short, as is my talk today. I find it very difficult to unpack a lot in a span of 10 to 15 minutes. You can't really, or I can't really, unravel the subtleties of a problem. I feel like capped to 1.5 case studies at most. Like, I can't really get into solutions. So here are some of the abortive ideas that I've had for this talk. That I did, in fact, pitch some of these to Andy Baio, who is extremely diplomatic about it. Seems a bit broad. Death by content, the incipient demise of post-Enlightenment consensus reality in a post-AI society. The stationer's copyright, the historical use of copyright law to regulate media and social meaning. The Aaron Sorkin problem, the inherent tension between journalistic norms and the economic necessity of selling journalism as a social good. FIRE in a crowded theater, how finance, insurance, and real estate are destroying society. Was social media a millennial lifestyle subsidy? How much of the internet was a ZERP? White statues, white weddings, white people, the theft of the Parthenon marbles and its continuing legacy in the Western wedding dress. So these are all admittedly very terrible ideas for a 10-minute talk. So I'm instead defaulting to the nostalgia talk. This is all the stuff that happened after the last time I spoke at XOXO. This was a very different time in my life. I was a freelance journalist. I was at a very early stage in my career. I was 2 years out of law school. My bylines were mostly in digital publications. I could not afford a good haircut. And what ended up happening was that my XOXO talk was a fairly significant part of my public-facing presence from there on, and pictures of the conference have followed me around the internet for the past 8 years. It's on my Wikipedia page, which, by the way, is not correct right now, so I am sure the 30% of the audience that are Wikipedia editors can fix that after this. This is a picture of me taken, I think, 2 years after the talk. I am in the 5th floor bathroom of the New York Times. You can actually see an XOXO custom water bottle right there in the corner. I took this mirror selfie when I came into the New York office to interview for a job on the editorial board. I think I snapped this photo right before I sat down with James Bennett, who ran the opinion section at the time. And James opened with, "I watched your TED talk. I thought it was really interesting. I have never spoken at TED." So some months later, I got the job, and absolutely nothing weird or bad happened after that. So some of you know what happened here, and I think that there's probably a small portion of this audience who are really worried that they have to listen to a racist talk for the next 10 minutes. So I did a bunch of tweets that made fun of white people, and some white people, not all white people, because white people are not a monolith, didn't like it. I really want to be clear here. Some of my best friends are white people. Here's a Daily Mail article about me. I really enjoy this one because of the original headline, which is preserved in the URL. New York Times tech reporter tweeted posts against men and cops. I really want to be clear here. Some of my best friends are men. My workplace, there are at least 3 men in my company. Would someone who hates men work at a company that employs at least 3 men? I don't think so. So I was the Fox News flavor of the week. And then the next week. And then the next week. I was on Fox News for a while. Was it a very slow news summer? I don't know. Ann Coulter was writing about me for 6 months. It was just like, girl, get a new column. It was like, I am not that interesting. But apparently I was interesting. Every day was more surreal than the next. Here's the president tweeting about me. He didn't use my name, but that's me. I'm the disgusting new board member. As weird, his son actually recorded an entire podcast episode about me, and I didn't know that until last year when I wrote an essay about this experience and the fact checker was going through it. And she's like, oh yeah, so there's an entire podcast episode that Don Jr. recorded about you. And I went, what? It's just like, so you listened to, what? That's strange. That is a strange thing that happened. It wasn't all bad. This is one of my controversial tweets. It involved a GIF that I clipped from the Studio Ghibli classic Pom Poko. There's a scene in the movie where Japanese raccoon dogs weaponize their magical testicles to fight riot police. And as a result of this whole shit show, CNN aired a loop of anime cops getting clocked in the face by cartoon nutsacks at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. But I really want to be clear here. None of my best friends are cops. So, even in the thick of things, I found ways to have fun. At one point, I started intentionally crafting the most boring tweets I could possibly write, which was a challenge. I put a lot of thought into it, actually, because there were so many haters. The haters would always come out. And not to toot my own horn, but look, this is a masterpiece of writing. Look at how boring that is. You really have to try very hard to get that boring. Why are there 135 replies to that? That's incredible. That's hilarious. I was having the time of my life. I was also having a very bad time of my life. People were threatening to hurt me, maim me, rape me, kill me, sometimes all of the above in different orders. Someone calls the Times, threatened to firebomb their offices. Look, New York Times gets threats. This is not, they are not a soft publication. But the person who got the threat was like, you know what, I'm filing a police report. My email inbox was a wasteland. I could not log into any social media platform without getting just blasted with just a lot of terrifying messages. I changed my phone number. When I left my house, I wore sunglasses and a baseball cap like I was an Olsen twin. When I booked a haircut, I used a fake name. At XOXO 2018, I wore the red lanyard. I was just having a paranoid meltdown twice a day, about whether or not I was at risk by existing in public. And this was a traumatic reaction. But to this day, I still really don't know whether or not I was being unreasonable. So a couple months later, I was on a work trip. And as soon as the plane lands, I open up my phone and ding, there's this text from my boss. You might remember there's this guy who sent Hillary Clinton and George Soros bombs in the mail. And I guess he really hated me too. He sent me a bunch of tweets threatening to kill me and dump my body in the Everglades. And then there were these ominous pictures of bodies in the Everglades. And that's sort of, I guess, probably what happens when your face is on Tucker Carlson for weeks on end. I was terrified, but also when the cops went through this guy's house, they found a list of other targets. And I was like, oh no, I'm on the list, aren't I? I wasn't on the list. He didn't even put me on his to-do list. It's so was I in danger or was I not? I don't know. To this day, I'm not sure. I loved speaking at XOXO 2016. And when you break down what those middle dominoes are, it's that XOXO moved my career forward, raised my profile, set me up for success. And for some people, often completely coincidentally, women of color, success comes with a threat model. And that was me. I came off of XOXO 2016 and I said, I'm gonna keep doing journalism. I kept doing journalism. I actually moved here right after that to pursue the XOXO dream, which usually doesn't end with taking a series of full-time positions at large corporations. But that was me. I did the XOXO dream very wrong. And I guess I paid the price for it. This was a very ridiculous, very stupid, very unserious thing that happened to me. It was also very traumatic. It has permanently changed the way that I relate to the world, to other people. What happened to me at the time was so overwhelming that I had to engage in this elaborate self-deception where I tell myself, words don't matter. They have no bearing on reality. Because if that's the case, then all these emails and DMs and tweets and articles and culture editorials and Fox News, they don't matter. So I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. And unfortunately, I write words for a living. So this lie of necessity started getting into my head. So why do I write? Why do words matter? Why do I bother to write it? Is it okay for me to write? And it took many years for me to bounce back from that. I have joy in my work again now. It's been a rough ride. Like I said at the start, 10 minutes is just not enough time to break down the nitty-gritty of a problem or propose real solutions. So I'll leave you with this. It got better. And I feel okay about saying that because for the vast majority of you, this is a meaningless takeaway. This is a nice little comfortable ending to my talk that was full of uncomfortable things to look at. But for a handful of you, like maybe 2 or 3 people in the audience, you should hear this. It does get better. What you are experiencing right now is a wound. You will have scars. It is objectively a bad thing that is happening to you. It is also really funny. It's goofy, it's terrifying, it's very strange. Most people in the world do not understand how weird it is that you're going through this and that it is also terrible. But at the time this was all happening, I really thought my life was over. I thought that I would never be known for anything other than my white people tweets. Today, almost no one remembers. I meet people who have written entire articles about me, and they sort of look at me and they go, I've seen your byline somewhere. Like they don't remember. This did not define me. I'm not wearing the red lanyard this year. I book haircuts under my real name. The years between my first XOXO talk and this, my last XOXO talk, have been very strange and very hard. And when I look back on it all, I realize that the festival has been with me throughout the bumpy ride, tucked away in the corner of a mirror selfie, and just always hanging on wherever life took me. I've absorbed so many interesting ideas, met so many people. When the shit happened to me, there were people in this community who reached out, and they were the ones who had been there before, who were able to tell me, this too will pass. What is happening to you is terrible, it's funny, it's painful, and this will not be the end of your life. I'm really thankful that I have this opportunity to tell whoever it is in the audience who is going to win the worst lottery next, those lessons, and I am so thankful that this festival is once more a place where I can speak my piece. Thank you, Andy and Andy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, XOXO. I'm glad I got to see you one more time.